everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, November 27th of 2022. It's a beautiful day here in Utah. We don't have a ton of snow in the valley. We have a good amount of snow in the mountains, but we're heading into that season, and it's been a beautiful week of Thanksgiving here in the U.S., and I think it reminds us all of all the things that we're grateful for. Now today I wanted to focus on something I think is very, very important, and that's the power of staying positive in a changing world, and along with that comes the health benefits of friends and friendships, the importance of friendships. So what I did is I wrote down 6 reasons that having the right type of friends, because there are friendships that can kind of take us into a path of bad habits, a path of non-motivation, but the right friendships can actually add massive health and longevity to our lives. They can bring us out of so many things, stressful situations, etc. So I wrote down the health benefits of friendship, because to me this is one of the ways that we are able to stay in happiness as the world is changing. Because if anyone thinks we're going back to the way things were before the beginning of 2020, we're not. And the thing is to be grateful for the changes, to continue to hold on for the ride, because I don't think we're through with the tough stuff yet, but then to realize the power of connection and social connection, especially with our friendships and our friendship base. And this might include family members for many of you, and I know for me it does, partly because I have such a huge family, and I'm so grateful that I'm so closely connected to a few of my siblings, if not most of them. My parents definitely did a good job by bringing 14 children. In fact, my mom brought 11 kids into the world biologically, and then my parents adopted three kids. So, my parents did their job in making sure we all had plenty of friends growing up, and if we got mad at one of them, I remember so clearly there was always another one that we could go commune with and play with, and it was just one of the most amazing gifts of growing up in the family that I grew up in. And those of you who have big families as well understand that. And my hope for most of you that have big families is that you've continued to stay close with each other as you've gotten older. Because I think that's been, and from what I see in my perspective, that can be a real challenge for many families, is as you all grow up and you get married, you get with a spouse, and you start having kids, and you start having life and mortgages and all the things that we have as adults. Views change, tastes change. There's so many things that we expand our horizons out into the world that for many of us it looks very different than the childhood we were raised with, as far as maybe the religion or the culture, and I'm not saying dump those things. I'm saying that when our horizons expand, and especially when we get with another person, then this is actually something that we can adopt the views of this person that we're with, the person we're married to, the person that we live with, the people we spend the most time with. So, it's an interesting journey through life to stay friends with your adult siblings. And I think it can be a challenge, right? So some of the things that I wrote down are this. The very first one is that friends are good for your physical health. And this is so cool, and there's plenty of studies that have proven this. Healthy relationships actually contribute to good physical health. Problems like diabetes, heart attack, and stroke can actually diminish greatly when we have strong, healthy relationships and friendships. Strong social ties can decrease feelings of loneliness, which takes a toll on your longevity. When you are lonely, your longevity suffers, and this has been so proven. People with strong relationships have half the risk of premature deaths from all diseases. Now this goes back to a while ago I did a video about the number one thing that's good for your health, And that was your social connections. And I'm going to bring that back to this whole friendship thing. There's a beautiful book called The Blue Zones, and I've talked about this before, and many of you have probably read it. And this studies the longest living humans in different pockets of our culture throughout the world. And what they show is the number one reason for longevity for every single one of these groups of people that live to be 100 or more are their strong social connections. And that could be whether it's your family or your friends. And I think this is why our friendship base is so critical. And the fact that it's got to be healthy friendships, because friendships that are not healthy can actually take us in the opposite direction. And this is something we all know, right? Okay, so number 2, friends actually encourage healthy behavior. They encourage better decisions, eating better, exercising more. They also watch out for us and give us a heads up when they notice unhealthy behaviors. And this is where it can kind of get a little bit tricky, because it's not like you want your friend to point out all your bad habits all the time, but it's nice, like say maybe you're drinking too much and you're at a social situation. Your friends watch out for you, and maybe that's just something that's every once in a while that happens, but your friends are there to have your back, to protect you, and to point out sometimes unhealthy behaviors, and to kind of help you say, all right, it's time to change this behavior, right? You're also more likely to stick with exercise and weight loss if you have a buddy. We all know this is true. If you are going to meet a friend and go for a walk every single morning, one of my sisters in California, she has a good friend that they've been walking for literally decades, probably 3 decades. And they don't walk just at any time during the day. They get up early, really early, and they get their hike, their walk in. They have this place in their neighborhood where they go, and it's got some very good hills on it. And they get up early, and they meet each other, and they go on this walk. And it's a good workout. And if you think about it, my sister might, and even her friend, might lose their motivation sometimes if you're not meeting somebody to do this. And I, as a person who taught group exercise classes for more than 40 years, one of the things I loved most about it is that I was obligated to go. And I would say the last 20 years, it really reached a point where it was like, I couldn't wait to go, because I enjoyed it so much, and the camaraderie, and for me it was the music and the sweating and the sheer joy of just dancing around a room with people and working out with other people. I mean, there is something about that, friends that actually help you stay motivated along a healthy path. And to me, that's one of the most beautiful things about friendships, being able to keep you healthy. So what they also do is they push you out of your comfort zone and also help you try things that you might not try. I have some really good friends that I met at the gym, and one of them does curling, which is that kind of odd Olympic sport where, I don't even really know quite how to describe it, but that is something that he's been kind of pushing me and my husband to come and do, and with him and his group of friends who do it. And that is something that as soon as my knee is all the way 100%, I'm going to go try some curling, which is something that still sounds kind of odd to me, but apparently it's something that he loves. He does competitions. And this is the cool thing about friends, is they can actually get you out of your comfort zone and help you try things that you might not try, right? Number 3, friends give you emotional support. If you're going through a hard time, friends can help make the transition easier. When there's a death in the family, where there's a loss of a job or loss of or anything that's stressful and you need emotional support, friends help get you through that. And like I said in the beginning, friends might be your family members. I have a couple of sisters that are near the top of the older group along with me that I'm super, super close to. And I can call them in a heartbeat, and it can immediately lift me up, especially if I'm having, some emotional stress or whatever. So they can help make that transition out of a stressful emotional time a lot easier. And they help you realize that happiness is contagious. If you have somebody who's a good friend of yours and you meet up with them for a coffee or whatever, and they're just happy when they see you, it automatically makes you happy because emotions are contagious. It goes the same way with stressful emotions or negative emotions. Those are also contagious. So keep that in mind as you walk through life about how contagious emotions are. Number 4, friendships help build your confidence. We all have self-doubt and insecurities every now and then. Having a friend who supports you can play a big role in building your self-esteem and reminding you to love and appreciate yourself. I think we all kind of beat up on ourselves a little bit sometimes, and we have this kind of self-depreciating. We're all a little bit guilty of that, and we don't want to seem like we're maybe overly egotistical, but it doesn't really have anything to do with that. I think sometimes we just need a reminder of how wonderful we are, and a really good friend or a base of friends can provide that for us. Supportive friends help shine a light on just how amazing we are and how much we have to offer in life. So I would say that if you are a person who realizes that that is a big role that you play in the lives of others, keep doing that. Because one little sentence, one little word, one little hug or pat on the back or smile, all genuine, can absolutely change the game for some people. They can change not just their day, it can change their absolute life if they get that love and support and confidence from you. So I think that one of the things to do is to tune in to when your friends need that from you as well. Number 5, friends help us beat stress. We all go through stressful times, and if you know you have people that you can count on, you may be less likely to perceive really tough times as they'll be less stressful. So there's always going to be tough times because we're human. We're human beings. We're living this experience, and there's going to be suffering and there's going to be stress. And if we can be in a friendship circle or base, or even have that one person who can help us pull ourselves out of these stressful times, it's going to be so much less damaging on our health. So if you know you have people you can count on, you may be less likely to perceive the tough times as stressful. Social connections help relieve stress, which harms the heart, the arteries of your heart, your gut function, your insulin regulation, and your immune system. Now we all know that stress can completely wipe out our immune system. It makes our body think that we have to just simply go into survival mode. So when we have that strong connection with friends, they can help lift us out of that. That's why I think having friends literally can give you serious longevity. Okay, now the last thing I wrote here is that friends push you to do your best when you might not be doing the best yourself. Now I know this is a fact, like in a group situation, as far as when I was, teaching my classes. In order for me to really be able to give a good class, I had to push myself and show good form and show motivation and show inspiration that I could do what I was expecting everyone else to do. So I think you can push this out into absolutely any situation. You can, if you realize that the friends that you have should be in your circle to help you do your best. And, I would say this is a really good time to maybe take an evaluation of what does your friendship base look like? Who do you let into your circle and how are they serving you? And, this is not something that is easy sometimes to release people from your circle that are not serving you. This is not meant to be anything like get rid of everybody doesn't serve you. You have to be really strategic about what you bring to the table and reevaluate what you bring to the friendship circle, and then reevaluate the people you spend the most time with. This is something we've heard for years and years and years, that you become like the people you spend the most time with. And we all know that's true. We all have friends that we know that when we're going to be spending time with them, that they're either going to lift us up or they're going to bring us down. And we almost have to get ready for those people who bring us down, because it might be maybe a family member who you need to see at social functions or family functions, and you kind of have to brace yourself and steel yourself. You all know what I'm talking about because we've all experienced this. So I think if we learn to tighten up what we expect and then be willing to reach out and widen our friendship base for those like-minded people that are going to bring out the best in us, reduce our stress, help us be healthier, help us build confidence. I mean, all of these things are critically important, in my opinion, to move forward and stay happy in this changing world that we're in. You know, what made me think about this topic was Friday, I picked up a friend from the airport who flew in from Canada. And she is one of my dearest friends, and I say this, and I don't see her very often, we stay in touch, but she's a friend that I actually met when my husband and I were on a vacation, probably 15, 16 years ago. We were on a vacation in the Virgin Islands, and it was a spectacular vacation, and we met her, and she was on vacation there with a friend, and there was an immediate connection. Like, you know how sometimes when you meet people and you kind of go, you know what? There's something familiar about you. Like, did we know each other in another life? Do I recognize you from somewhere? But sometimes you meet those people randomly, especially if you're willing to step outside your comfort zone and be friendly to people who are strangers. You never know who's out there that's going to be a soul connection for you. And so this person, who I've known for a long time now, flew in to visit for a week. She got here on Friday, and I hadn't seen her probably in 5 years. And even though we stayed in touch, the last 2 or 3 years have been very, 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 very stressful for her, thinking about where she lives in Canada. We have been completely like-minded on everything that's been happening. And when I picked her up at the airport, before we put her luggage in my car, I wrapped her in this big hug, and we literally stood outside at the airport and cried tears of joy for seeing each other. And I'm telling you, this is a person who, you know, Sarah, if you're watching this, I adore you. This is just a person who on every level gets me and gets what I'm about. And we are so connected in this, like the motivation, the kind of food we like to eat, like exercising, the things that are important to us as far as freedom and no mandates. And, you know, if you got to the end of this video, this is kind of one of those times where, all right, you get all the good stuff at the end of this video. Because I think that during these last 2.5 years, especially almost 3, finding these people that align with your belief systems and the things that you see when they happen, and you know what's happening without anybody having to tell you a year, 2 years, almost 3 years down the road, oh, now we see. When you know and connect and have connected with those people who see what you see when you see it, and they're in your friendship base. And I have people local that are here too, that and commiserate with them is probably the wrong way to put it, but I can get with them, and I can feel like I'm not crazy, right? And I'm sure, you know, you might be able to relate to some of this, and it doesn't really matter what side of where you fall on any of your political things, your religious things, your belief systems. When you get with a person who's aligned with you, and it makes you feel normal in your own skin for the things that you believe and the way you want to walk through life, you can literally feel calmness come to you, and in the way it does impact your immune system, and your health and longevity is so obvious in the way that you feel. And to me, this is what I hope for all of us as we continue to walk through these really interesting times, because I really do believe that there are hard things still coming. I don't think we're out of all of this yet. I think that to be prepared and aware is such a gift, because then there's nothing to fear. What happens is going to happen, and to be prepared and to stand up for what you believe in, and to be willing to hold the line for the things that where your line in the sand is really, really, really important. Because as a collective, we need to remember that we are the ones that hold the power, and we are the ones that know what we want out of life without other people above us who've put themselves above us and want to control everything that we do and everything that we say, the way we live our lives, and the freedoms that we have. We are at a pivotal time in human history. And the way that I see it is that we are going to come out of this better, stronger, a more beautiful humanity than we can even imagine. I believe there's so many things happening underneath the things that we don't see, the things that are not reported on, not just mainstream. Mainstream to me has completely lost any trust that they might have ever had in the past. It's been a long time since I've been a news watcher, a long time, at least a couple of decades, maybe more. I lost my confidence in them a long time ago, but even the stuff that we see in alternative places that I think are trustworthy, and I'm grateful I get to get information from them, I still believe that there are so many things happening underneath the scenes that are good and powerful, and we just don't hear about them. But I would encourage you to look into yourself, tune into your soul, and intuitively think, how many other like-minded good people are there on this planet? Because we are a global community. We are not just Americans and Europeans and Africans and Russians and Chinese. We all want the same thing. We want love. We want freedom. We want abundance. We want peace. We want kindness. We want our families to be safe and secure. And we all want these same things. And there are people that have the influence and the money and the power that have the best of humanity at their core. And like I said, I know I talk to I'm luckily connected to some people that it makes me feel grateful that I'm here to witness this and be a part of the change. So I think I'm going to end it right there. But I thank you for tuning in. I encourage you to find the friends that are going to help you realize that it is possible to not just survive, but to thrive and be happy while the world is changing. There's absolutely a way to realize the power and potential of the human spirit, the human soul. And you might need to search out those people. Break out of your comfort zone. I'm telling you, I know I say this on a regular basis, and some of my recent videos even. Connect with people and build your strong foundation of friends who can not just lift you up and be there when you're in a bad mood or you're lonely or depressed, but that can actually encourage you to be your best and see your own light. See what a gorgeous soul you are. I think if we knew our own power, we would be blown away, absolutely blown away. So I hope you have the most beautiful Sunday, a beautiful last few days of November. I think that we're going to be holding on for the ride for the next 2023 is going to be interesting. I think it can be abundant and amazing if we prepare. Like I said, we're aware, we stay on top of things, we get our communities together. I could go on and on about this. Make sure that you're connected with your neighbors and on your street and in your apartment building. I mean, that to me, that stuff is super, super important. So anyway, like I said, I could go on, but if you got to the end of this, thank you for watching. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you're not. If you think someone could benefit from a little bit of this, share it around. You know, I love you guys. I think that we're going to be looking back and wondering, wow, did we realize what was happening truly as we were going through it? And maybe some of us will say, yes, absolutely. So have a beautiful day, guys. Have a brilliant week ahead. Sending you tons and tons of love, and we'll see you next time.